everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. I am your host, Rochelle Slay Queen or Slay Hemingway, and I am the CEO and founder of Slay to Success. Slay to Success is a leadership and it's mostly image consultant service business. I support women and organizations to achieve professional success by working with them on their image and their impact by focusing on appearance, behaviors, communication skills, and digital presence. And what does slay mean, y'all? You know, it means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym and it stands for stay ready, be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, a sense of family, and knowing you are built to last. So as you are coming in to view, please make sure that you put into the comments your name and where you're streaming in so we can give you the proper shout out, and make sure you subscribe, okay? Because I have lots of videos on the YouTube channel, Slay to Success, where you can binge watch for hours on hours on hours, and you can subscribe and get the latest updates on these videos that I upload on a weekly basis. And so, what is the purpose of this particular show? This is where I highlight men and women who are living life on their own terms, and they are using the slay philosophies to make a positive impact in this world. And so, without further ado, I have an amazing, slay amazing, as we know, I always say, slay amazing guest who I've had the pleasure of already meeting her in person, but we have met some years before on an app called Clubhouse. All right. So if you're not familiar, it's kind of the underground of the underground apps that are out there. And we have met through Mosaic Nation. And so if you want a conversation that's going to be impactful and resonating, you will not want to miss this episode. And if you are here live with us, thank you so much for joining us live, because you could have decided to go anywhere, but you decided to be here with us as we're going to be here for about an hour or so. All right. And we're just going to be talking it up. All right. So let me just introduce my guest, y'all. Okay. She has over 2 decades, all right, deep in the tech trenches. So all the tech space, technology, some of us some of us are adverse, if you will, to technology. She is deep in it. Her name is Charlene Brown, and she is better known as the brand Misfit. She is the founder of Brooklyn Custom Designs, the Misfit Squad community, and the Clarity with Charlene and Transform Clicks to Profit podcast. She has evolved into more than just a seasoned CTO. She's a passionate strategic clarity consultant and tech implementation and brand strategist. From startups to Fortune 500 corporations, Charlene's rich, diverse range of experience has honed her ability to demystify technology, amplify brands, and guide them to strategize for growth. She is not a 1, not a 2, not a 3, but a 4-time best-selling author. Okay. So that means that she is not slumping around. All right. She is on it. And she has a podcast, and she is a live stream host and producer and a corporate trainer. What is Charlene's mantra? Her mantra is transform clicks into profit. So without further ado, I'm bringing my girl to the stage. What's going on? You're on mute, Queen.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I told you I was rusty with this live right now.
Yeah, I'm about to make sure that you get your reps in, okay? Because we got a lot of conversation to have tonight. Absolutely. And look, I got my water. Well, it's water because it's so hot out here. It's warm. What you got? You got a little bit of. You got a little
girl. I got my peach whiskey.
Charlene, she not messing around with y'all, okay?
Y'all don't. I'm here for conversation.
So Leslie's in the house already. Hey, Queen. This is our madame. She is here tonight with us live. So thank you so much for being here and supporting us. Um, okay, Charlene. So we met in person. We went downtown DC, okay, with all the traffic and all the things, and we managed to be together for a few hours
Yes.
talking about all the things, randomness, right? And so I know what kind of energy you bring, and I know how you operate. All right. But a lot of people here, they don't know. They may not know who you are, but after tonight, okay, they not gonna forget. Absolutely. She said absolutely 100. Love y'all. All right. So tell my audience, the people that have joined us, who you are, kind of what you do, and what got you to, what you're doing right now. So just give us a little background.
Yeah, so I'll just say this. To say that I stumbled into so much that I do now, it's that's an understatement, right?
Yeah.
So I love working in technology space, and that was a little bit on the accidental side because coming up in my time, the internet wasn't new, but there was nothing really exploring in that space as yet.
Yeah.
So my mentor and really really good friend Zaji, she's the one who, of course, and I don't recommend this for anybody, but when I first started Tender, my first corporate position, I was, catching on to everything. So I would knock things out in no time, right? It was no biggie for me. But on my board time, and I was still on probation,
Oh,
I would, stay close to the job. I would collect DVDs and CDs and stuff. And then I would go back to work. I would be listening to the music and working. And then there would just be times that I'm like, you know what, this CD is trash. I got to send this out to my people so they can avoid it, right? So I would send reviews out via email because I didn't have a personal email, so I would use my company email. Like I said, I do not recommend y'all doing this. So I would be sending out reviews every day, and my friend Aji was like, "Girl, you need to have a website." And I was like, "Mm-mm." It's like most of my clients out here now, like, "No, that's too much work," and "Oh my
mhm.
God." And she was like, "No." So we started on Dreamweaver. For those who don't know, Dreamweaver is like you really starting building from scratch, you getting the code. So that's how I became a coder, learning how to really code a website, what makes what tick, functionality, all that, right?
Mhm.
And then we found Drupal, which is still around today, but it's so cumbersome. We were like, we need something else. We need something else. So along came WordPress a couple of years later, and we ran on to that. So I think WordPress must have been like a year old or whatever. So we were
Yeah.
on it. And that's been my first love ever since when it comes to building. So I started building out a review website, just talking all the kind of smack. And I didn't know the dynamics of being online. So with all of that, of course, came not only how to build a website, but how do you get traction? How do you get people to come to the site? And then what do you talk about to keep people coming back? So it transitioned from me just doing something because I loved it and I was just sharing with friends to really blogging and learning the powers of blogging, learning how to properly blog. So that's why I'm a blog advocate to this day. And I saw like how powerful that was to create content that people come to without you having to say, hey, go check it out, even though that's still part of a whole strategy, right?
Yeah.
In terms of digital marketing. So me stumbling into learning how to build websites at first reluctantly, but then 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, I'm shedding tears because my whole website done went blank because I put a comma in the wrong place or there's an extra space and I can't, and I've been staring at code for so long, I can't figure it out. So of course I called my homegirl and she's at 3 in the morning. She up like me.
Oh,
And we going through code together. Like those adventures made
yeah.
me love seeing like, okay, not only that I think about something, but I was able to figure it out, do the problem solving of it, and then get it up and running more dynamic in from what I had in my mind, but then also more dynamic than what I could think would be possible in the real world. So all of that to say, throughout the 20 plus years, I've seen a lot, right? So when I see certain technologies being presented, I just see almost like an old idea, but in a new dress kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not always overly excited of what's coming out. I still have passion and love and excitement, but I'm not overly excited because one, I want to see, okay, I seen this concept, but what's new? What makes you special? What makes you stand out as technology? And then two, would this be something I need to invest in right now? So all of that taught me how to not only think for myself on how to engage with technology, but when I'm in the corporate space, when I'm dealing with the private client, how should they also engage too? Because again, you have different needs, you have different wants, and how does that look? And of course your pockets are different, right?
Yeah.
So even though corporate has big pockets, they still are skimping and scrimping to say, I don't know, is this time, do we need to? And then you have to justify those kind of, yeah, you need to be upgrading, you need to be and even when you're doing that, you still have to think in a broader terms, not just what your team needs, but how does this implement, how can anybody else in the corporation implement this or benefit in the long term. So yeah, when I tell you stumble, yeah, I mean stumble, but I have fun stumbling.
Listen, I don't, half of the things in what you say, and I'm like, oh, what? Because that's why you the expert in what you do. I mean, this technology space, and there's so many changes that are happening like on an everyday basis and trying to keep up on that. And you're, keeping with some of things that you've always found to work and then maybe adapt to things that are new. So it's fascinating to me as you're talking this. And I'm always so happy when you're talking about things that I don't even know anything because you break it down. All right, so you from New York, right?
By
And
way of Miami.
by way of Miami.
Mhm.
Okay. And so you've grown up kind of in a different space maybe than others have. So tell us a little bit about, your younger days. All right. So like what is like if somebody should ask, well, who's Charlene? All right, besides outside of technology and so forth,
Right.
what would you share with them?
I will say, and I believe some of my good friends. I don't know about the rest of you. But I do believe I'm still the same person from when I was younger. I had to come to terms with certain things because I'm like, oh no, New York made me like this, and other people from Miami be like, no, girl, you always been like that. I was like, really? So cautious. I'm always cautious. I'm always weary of who's around me. Where am I? What am I doing?
Mhm.
So some people may think I'm standoffish, but what I like to do in any space, especially in new spaces, I like to observe first. I
Yep.
like to see the dynamics of what's going on around me, and then I like to engage accordingly. And it's not me shifting or trying to figure out how to behave, but what I do is one, I don't openly give of myself and my energy to
Yeah.
spaces that don't deserve it. And when I say that, I mean this is not a space that I can benefit from, I can grow and learn from, or I can even enjoy and have fun and just lay down my barriers for a second, right?
Yeah.
So very few people get to see me really lay down those barriers because when I take you in and I start to embrace you and then I engage with you on a deeper level, meaning I'm sharing certain things and you're sharing things with me, I take that seriously.
Mhm.
So regardless of what that looks like, I don't like to be in a space where people are just collecting data and then using it later. And it may sound like, oh, that's a weird thing to think about. I wish it would be weird, but unfortunately, so many people are out here literally collecting just to see how can they use it later, or they're filing it away. So for
Mhm.
me, when I am just laying down my barriers and chilling with my people, I don't want to worry about that. So
Right.
regardless of what I say or how I move or whatever, my people know, oh, this is who she is. If you see me arguing with somebody and it feel like, oh, she tight, I'm passionate. So if
Right.
I'm talking about a discussion or a topic, I'm passionate about it, and I love asking questions. And if it's an uncomfortable conversation, sometimes that's what we need. But so many times we avoid those uncomfortable conversations so we
Mhm.
can live in a mask of comfort. So even though it looks like we're comfortable, we still not happy. We still have questions that are unanswered. We leave this world unfulfilled, and that can't keep happening if you are actually opening up, truly opening up and feeling safe.
Uh,
So yeah, so when I feel safe with certain people, I let my guard down. I'm able to speak and share what my concerns may be without me feeling like, oh, we about to, if we have a disagreement or falling out, oh, they all my business gonna be on Twitter and all. Like, child, I ain't got time for that. I've been in a place where you don't write nothing down if you don't want people to find it later, right? Say
right.
it and forget it. Write it and regret it. But folks out here just be writing and tapping and I ain't got time for that.
Right. Kevin, girl. Leslie over here, she says we don't like people weaponizing our words, and that's
No,
exactly right. Right.
no, and I don't got time to type an argument out. That's another.
No. Yeah.
Have a good day on that.
No. I also hear like the way you explain it, like wanting to be in safe environments where people aren't going to use stuff against you and throwing it up in your face and counting the
Right.
ways, you did this and now I'm going to do XYZ. And that's really truly, I think it's about really understanding and knowing who you are and what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept. All right. So I'm
Mhm.
going to create my boundaries and you just not going to step over them. And if you do, then I'm gonna have to tell you about this stuff. All right.
That part.
Right. I'm just gonna have to say something, right? And I
That
also hear a lot about leadership, so I love the whole premise of leadership, the art of leadership, the science of leadership, and so forth. And so when you're in your space, I see you have to be a leader in your own right. Like there's no one like breathing down your neck per se, and telling you here's what you must be doing. So
right.
for you, what does leadership kind of look like for you? Oh,
That's like so ooh, that's like such a big bag of
mhm,
expectations because a real good strong leader still needs to understand who they are as a person.
yeah, yeah,
So many times leaders are wrapped into the persona of what the company assumes they should look like.
mm,
And a lot of times that also means, oh, we got to be at the front. We got to, if the ship is going down, we going down with it. But, in reality, that's what the books say. That's what the
right,
business books say, right?
right.
But in reality, they the first ones with the parachutes, right? They got the parachute strapped to them. They out the door, and you didn't even realize the ship was going down. The plane is on fire. You didn't
Right.
realize, right? Because the leader went out the window already, so you didn't know. So I think for me, leadership really means not only do you understand who you are, but you can step back out of yourself and
Yeah.
see the people in front of you and know, okay, I need to get the dynamics out of you. I need to get your best out of you. And if I see your weakness, then let's work on that. But we got to address it. I can't just sugarcoat your weakness. And now the weak link of the team is bringing down the whole team. Work productivity is low because your whole plate is still full and you have 4 weeks to get that done. Like things like that. Communication, open communication.
Mhm.
There's a lot of leaders who chastise that's unnecessary, right?
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
know someone isn't good at something, either get them the support that they need, get them into trainings, do whatever it is. And if you've done that and it's still not working, guess what? They just not in that right position. Maybe they just not the one. Maybe that's time to let them go. and not let them go because you don't like them. I think it's no longer about a light competition kind of thing, right? It's
Mhm.
about, can you get it done? Are you efficient enough? Can you learn quick enough? All of these things that allows you to say as a leader, okay, these are my people. I'm making sure that they're fine tuned. I'm getting to what they need,
Yep.
so they can be the best of themselves. And then overall, the entire team is great, right?
Right.
Not just, oh, that one person held up the whole team, so that I'm gonna take the credit. No, 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 no. It's
Yes.
about allowing everybody to shine in their place, in their position, in their lanes, and then bringing all those puzzle pieces together. That's something I think we are missing. We're always looking for, and this is something that I've noticed for a couple of years now. You're always looking for that one shiny object person, right?
Mhm.
To be the standout, or be the one that you want everybody to reflect.
Yeah.
But then we're not all that person, right? That person is great at marketing, then let them handle the marketing. Let them do that, knock themselves out. But then
Yeah.
start finding out, what else are we great at? What do we want to do? And then allow us to help achieve the company goals in our lanes. And that allows you to come together as a full puzzle piece,
Yeah.
rather than you being that jigsaw trying to be forced into a space that's not where you're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Not because you're not wanted or you can't do it, but where do you thrive in? That's something that a leader should be looking for, is to try to identify people who thrive in certain situations based on what they need and where they're needed, so you can place them and position your chess pieces properly. And so instead of them becoming just random puzzles or checkers, right? You're
Mhm.
positioning a chess piece, and you're building up a chess piece, and you're lining them up so they can help support and protect the ultimate king and queen and all that good stuff, right? Because I don't play chess, but I know. I know.
She said, "I don't play, but I know." Oh, Lord. Oh, that's why we love you. Okay, so Leslie said, "Love that. I think people who claim the leaders lack the skills to get the things done." Yes, it's about skills. It's about awareness. It's about understand what you're getting yourself into. And
Right.
I, with you, Charlene, serving 30 years in the United States Air Force hood, and by the time you even get to a certain point in your career, you kind of see like what's going on,
Oh yeah.
and they always trying to throw that one person to the front that claims to know all the things, and come to find out they may be good at one or two things, but what's the rest of the team doing and
If
what
that.
they do?
If
Okay.
that.
And then the leaders, I mean, we can go in as to how many times that we've seen leaders, they mismatched. Okay. They not supposed to be there. All right. And no one's saying anything about what they should be, doing, how they should be getting trained and developed. All right. And what are they doing to support the entire team? We can
Mhm.
talk about that all day long. Right. But I mean, that is clearly one of the things that we have the right mindset. We are very much in alignment with that. And so, with that too is this mindset shift that I always think that people should have, whether or not you're a leader, you're a CEO, business owner, household, in charge of all the things in the household. You got to have the right mindset.
Right.
All right. And so mindset work for me is a lot. There's a lot of things that go into it. So, throughout your travels and traversing in the tech world, right? Because it's an up and down kind of role that you have, because you're always constantly, you got clients, you got corporations that you're dealing with, and then you're dealing with you. So what type of mindset have you developed over the years?
I'm still working on that.
Well,
But
I think
I've
we
gotten, yeah, I've definitely gotten better in the sense of streamlining my thoughts,
yeah.
learning my energy patterns. And it sounds, and I'm not saying energy in the sense to make people think, oh, I'm out here just Wu sign all day. Like there's times I'm ready to blow up my computer.
Right.
But I have to, when I know things are due, things got to get done. Think something's missing. I need communication. I need to reach out. All of that is part of you learning how to lead in your team, in your space, whatever that is. And communication is a necessary. So I have to really understand where my energy is. Am I tired? Why am I tired? Let me address that. Maybe I need to take a break. Maybe I've been staring at a problem too long, or a situation too long. Step away from that. Take a breather, walk around, do whatever, and then come back to it when my mind is clear. A lot of times, when I started out, I would be fumbling because I'm just forcing my mind to try to focus on something when it's like, you know what? No, I'm
Yeah.
tapping out, do what you got to do. Right. And the way I knew that, it was because I would feel like I'm in a fog, but I couldn't identify what it was. I wasn't ready to say I'm burnt out. I'm in a fog. I'm just disconnected. I'm not feeling this right now, whatever that is. And God forbid you tell somebody, oh, you know what, I'm just not feeling web design right now. They're like, oh my God, you don't love it anymore. I was like, no, calm down. I'm literally saying in this point in time right now, today, I need a break.
Right.
So I need to go find another outlet for my creativity or my energy, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So I had
Well,
to start real.
what is your outlets? What are your
Okay. So So some of my outlets is definitely reaching out to friends. Every now and then I like a mindless scroll, but not too much, because at that point I'm almost like a kitten, and I'm just playing with a ball of yarn. I'm all over the place, right? So if I feel like that, I'm just like, okay, center down. I go, thank you for a lot of the AI graphic tools. I'm out there playing with graphics. I'm in Mid Journey a lot, and I'm sitting there tapping into my friend. I'm like, oh, you got some prompts? Oh, let me go find some other prompts. Let me go see what else I can do. And we're just like thinking like, what's some off the wall things we can do, and then working on that, right? So I love the graphic space to do that.
Mhm.
Um, and also just sometimes I'll just listen to music. I'll just listen to music, and R&B is always my go-to. Old school R&B, definitely. I love 70s style music. Oh, child, I could listen to that all day.
Mm.
Love songs, and I'm not listening to love songs because I'm sad or I'm looking for love. There, first of all, the beat is just on point, and a lot of the lyrics are just like, damn, oh, okay, who came up with this? Like, okay, like,
Yeah.
so that's just me, right? So I'm just sitting there vibing on music. Another time when when I'm in my energy is high, but I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
I watch murder, death, kill shows. So what is that?
Oh,
Murder, death, kill
girl,
shows or crime shows, right? That's all
you
I'm
and me
watching.
the same, girl. We twinsies and soul sisters on that. But I'm
I
telling you,
love those. And then I'm just like, oh, I know who did it. Oh, I know who did it.
oh,
Oh, and then other times I'm like, say word. So yeah, so between the murder, death, kill shows, the documentary versions,
yes,
the series, or I'll just veg out on Lifetime and say, oh, look at this. Like, who wrote this? And that's another one, right? I'll watch bad shows and I'm like, who wrote this? I
right.
like, well, how'd y'all come up with this? Like, but I'm watching it. And I'm watching it so my brain can just have a moment,
Yes,
release, and then
yes.
I'm ready to come back to work.
Yes, I love it because I do the same thing. I'm just like, and my husband, he gets on me. Why are you watching these shows? All this stuff is gonna give you nightmares, which it does sometimes. But I'm just like, I don't know. I just something about it. But you have to have something or some things that you need as you know decompressing. Like don't even think about it. Get away from what you got going on to get out of the fog,
Mhm.
to get that energy back up, because we are very high energy type women, that we like to get ish done. Okay. And so when we don't get that stuff done, we got to go back to what we know that can get us back into what we're doing.
Right.
And I absolutely love what you have shared with us so far, y'all. She is just dropping these gems. Y'all just need to be paying attention. All right,
Or
because we
sometimes I
just
have cuddle time with my cat.
Oh yeah. So Shadow is the cat's name. Okay.
Yeah.
We all know the people that knows Charlene and her cat. She talks about the chronicles of Shadow all the time. So he in the background doing what he does back there. But yeah, I mean, taking the time and chilling out with him and doing you. And I think that's important. That's part of self-care, self-love, to make sure that you have things that you can point back to build you back up. And we certainly know about this business world that we're in as entrepreneurs, which is a whole nother level of things. And so for you, okay, I want you to explain to my audience the brand Misfit. Okay, because I don't know whether or not people quite understand, but tell us why that came up for you, and just want to hear the story.
So I've always felt a certain way about how I approach design and websites to be different, right?
Mm,
And in the sense of I love mix matching things. I love mix matching ideas. I know what the principles are, but I know exactly where I can break certain rules. So that's where the whole misfit of it all comes from. But the naming of me, I would definitely say, came from the help and the guidance of the ghetto country grandma, Phyllis. She is amazing, and just me telling her how I felt about what I do and the passion I have, and the way my brain is always looking at things and the puzzles and all of those things, and the holistic approaches that I like to take.
yeah,
She kind of helped me come with that. So I'm forever grateful to her for that, because I was like, "Ooh, the brand. Oh, that's so good." I was like,
it's
"Yeah, let's
so fitting, girl. It is
do
so
this."
fitting.
So I get to have fun with that, and once I was able to have that name, I would say, that persona for myself, it became easier for me to not only identify what I needed to do and how I needed to approach the marketing of it all, but
Hmm.
it allowed me to step away from Charlene Brown, because especially on social media, I've been on Facebook for so long. I was on there under an assumed name, but of course, one of my college roommates found me, and I was like, "How'd you find me?" She was like, "Cause I remember you was talking one day, and you said this, that." I was like, "Damn, I got to stop talking." But nonetheless, that's how I had to change my name. My real name is now on Facebook. So either way, when you're connected to friends and family, they love you, they support you, but it's never feeling, for me at least, it doesn't feel the same that now I got to market, and now people from when I was 6 are looking at me, and I was like, "Ah, I can't talk the same way, right?" Because oh my God, because of course I'm gonna get that phone call, "Girl, is you cussing? Like what you saying over there?" Like oh my. So I'm like, you know what? Shut that down. And now I can get into this persona that really speaks to how I really feel. And I don't have to
Yes,
apologize for that. So
yeah.
that's why I'm forever grateful for that branding of it. And yeah, and it just allows me that extra layer of freedom
Hmm.
to embrace that business side of what I need to do.
Yes. And you know me, I look, we could talk about that subject all day. We're gonna spend some time on it because I think it's important. Because I also did the same thing. Yeah, you all know me as Rochelle. Okay, but when I'm out here really doing what I do, it's slay queen or slay. Right. And I think that, it helps with the marketing piece. It helps with getting into what does that person look like, or what does that process look like. And we build from that. And we talk about, like personal branding and branding. Like you are so on point when we talk about how do you want your business or whatever you're doing to show up. Like getting that clarity, in which I love the podcast that you have about that, because of course I was on the podcast, and the clarity of it. And like, so let's talk a little bit about clarity in your personal brand, because before I know people want to talk about branding from their business or the marketing space, but let's just talk about from a personal aspect. All right. So, as you have created Brand Misfit and you've gotten through that, what exactly should someone have clarity about when they're pursuing, what we're kind of doing?
Oh, so first, the clarity has to be why you're doing what you're doing. I realize, especially when it comes to the branding conversation, people are stuck on colors and
Mm-hmm.
looking cute in photos and all that great stuff, which is a part of it, but that's not where you hang your hat on, right? So the core for me is understanding the purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you here? Why are you either in business? Why are you marketing something? Why are you promoting something? And is everything that you ever talk about and do, for the most part, right, is 90%, 80% of what you're going to talk about really diving into what you truly love to talk about, that you could sleep talk about it in your sleep kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
um I think when it comes to that branding part of it, you have to first know that that's where the clarity part comes in, of understanding what the purpose is, and then what's the main thing that really gets at you? Like, what is it that you always hearing people talking about? Maybe people saying there's certain things that people talk about and it's wrong. For me, it's you don't need a website, but they don't say why. They don't say the real reason. And for me, most people don't need a website because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what they're doing in their business. They don't know what they're doing in their brand. They don't have a conversation to
Yeah.
start. They don't have a reason to keep it going. Like a website isn't like a one and done. It's a constant conversation. It's a constant nurturing tool. A website should be looked at as a mustard seed or a plant or something, right? That you're always going to feed into. But folks want to put it up, let it die. They see it wilting. They don't know why. They're like, oh, what? And it's like, well, first of all, you got it in the closet. There's no sunlight that go in there. There's no air that goes in there. Your website should be getting fed and fed nutrients, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's my craw. That's what just like, oh, like, why are you even talking? And I get a lot of that conversation comes from marketers. But when I start to really pay attention, it's coming from them because they're under the advisement of quick and dirty, get it done, jump
Mhm.
out there, and da 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 da, right?
Right.
So a lot of their quick fixes are social media. Get into
Mhm.
that and start sending people here. And then that's where a lot of these other services come up, where they're giving you a lot of landing pages, right? Click funnels and all this other stuff. But if you really sat down, first of all, and decided, you know what, this is something that I want to do, this is the core, I can build all these same pages on my own website, right? So I'm
Yeah.
not paying 17 different people. Um, but then if I'm going to, again, if I'm investing in a certain technology, do I know why I'm investing in this technology? Did my friend talk me into it? Did somebody that I meet online or at a networking event talk me into going on to a service or a platform because they're getting payback or
Right.
kickback or an investment on the back end, right? So that's why
Mhm.
they're talking me into this, like, oh my God, it's so great. But they didn't even talk to me and ask me, what am I doing? Like, what's my recurring offer or anything like that? We're not having deeper conversations other than, oh, you need a landing page. Okay, I'm good. So for me, a lot of it is really understanding what are you going to do with this brand, because that's something else. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm a brand, I'm a brand. No, you're not, because we can't trademark you. Right?
No.
Or
No.
when you want to come to selling stuff, you can't sell you. Or if you want to sell your name, are you okay with that? Because then you can't use your name ever again. At least not in those type of ventures, right? There are
Mhm.
certain caveats you had to think about, and most people aren't sitting down and having real conversations with themselves, hard conversations with themselves. I'll never forget listening to Kate Spade when that company was sold. So was the
Mhm.
name. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what? How you selling? So a lot of those things I had to learn. And again, when I started out, my whole thing was, oh, let me just do this website real quick. But there was so much that needed to go in. The content, if you're gonna blog, how often, how are you writing this? What are you writing about? What are your topics? Like all these things have to come into play. And then boom, how are you marketing this? Do you got money to market? And if you don't have money to market, are you willing to sit down every other day and figure this out and send stuff that, and are you sending people? Crickets. Most people websites get crickets. And
Yeah.
it's crickets because they don't even want to talk about it. And then I found out people not talking about their website because they embarrassed. They embarrassed because they embarrassed about these websites because they did it. They did it because they didn't have no money. They didn't have no money because they selling $2 products to 4 people. Like this don't make sense. So if you're not sitting down and having real conversations, so what does this look like? Then it's not going to be something that is feasible for you. And it's okay. It's okay not to have a website right away if you don't
Yeah.
have a game plan to keep things going.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with personal branding. If you're going to start with the personal branding, understand that it should be in the middle of what my everything is. So you see people switching and every 2 seconds they pushing and promoting something else, and now you become an influencer, which is cool if that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you can't say, you're creating this amazing brand to get trademarked, and then again, that's another conversation with trademarking is, or do you have the money to fight when somebody now wants to challenge your trademark? All of these things. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I know because I'm in the thick of it, and I do have a website. And I think what um I have learned through this process is putting yourself out there. It's one of the things that you can do for people to get a chance to know you and who you are. And for me, that's what I show to my folks that I'm, trying to talk to is there are certain things that you can do for free, right? You can build your own website. All right. You don't have to have somebody just build a generic website for you and it doesn't speak to who you are. And you can blog. It don't cost nothing to blog. It don't cost nothing for you to put an article out there. So if you've got LinkedIn or any other platform, you can use the tools that are out there for free until you get to where you can start paying in. And so Leslie said, hey, she knew that was her that we speaking to, and she hired you to pretty much clear up her website and get the, get everything together.
Yeah.
And she's happy about it.
And I'm also very much a believer of learn so you know what it is that you need in advance. So like how you're learning and you're building out your site, I've seen your site and I've seen you do amazing, and I'm on your email list. So I'm just like, when I giggle and I'm like, oh my gosh, because like just to see you not only put into action, but really take it seriously and start to switch, you shift as you realize certain things for yourself and how your audience is taking your information. That's what you're supposed to do. So I'm always a lover of learn so you understand how to hire. And if you
Yes.
need to do it yourself, then do it in a sense of thinking to yourself, okay, I'm building out my own website. This is what I know I want to have on it. This is how it's not going to be perfect because maybe there's certain code or certain things I don't know how to do yet, but let me just get certain things out there. Let me get the information out there. Let me make it available, right? Have a platform that I can start and then learn the email process, learn how the opt-in should work, learn how all these things should operate. So by the time you bring somebody in,
Yeah.
right, and they start talking to you, be like, okay, no, see, this is not what I want. This is how I would like it to do. And you are now educated customer. And that's the
Yeah.
same thing if you had to go and hire yourself a contractor, if you had to hire yourself somebody to come and do your electricity, all of these things, you're going to understand a little bit about what the process should be. So by the time these people walk into your house, they're not talking about, oh, we got to tear down this wall so we can get to the light fixture in the kitchen. Like, what you talking about? We in the living room. Why you got to tear down my living room
Right.
wall to get to the kitchen? Like, you don't make no sense, right? So if you can really educate yourself enough to understand what the process should be and how you would like to operate, you have a better chance of now when you're ready, you know how to look for somebody to support you and take over certain things. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But like, you need to understand what you're doing, how you're doing it. And yeah, I appreciate you because I attended one of your courses and I downloaded the pamphlet and I went line by line. I was like, well, what do I need to change to make it better for, like you said, my target audience? Who am I speaking to? How am I speaking to? How are they taking it in? Let me look at the data. Let me make sure, that I'm putting out the things that they are wanting me to put out for them instead of the other way around, because we all want to do what we want to do, but when you're in business, it's a totally different perspective that you need to have. All right, because you're providing a service for someone else. And personal branding, as y'all know, that I'm in the personal branding space and I've got my, two resources here about the image and about personal branding, because I truly believe that once you really find out what you can do from your own way, then it translate into whatever else you're doing, which leads me to, you're not one, two, three, but you are a fourth time best-selling author. Okay. And so I'm just like, big ups my queen, okay, because you're putting out information out there. And this last book that you've written, what exactly are you sharing that you didn't really share in the other books?
So this last book, it's all about really understanding the technology implementation strategies of what it is that we should do, right? And when I say technology implementation, I'm also talking about websites, I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about email marketing, because all of that is technology that you now need to figure out, how does this fit in my business? How does this fit in my brand overall? Should I be on certain platforms? Maybe this isn't something that I need to do right now. I can do this later. We're so caught up in the FOMO that we now are everywhere like bird poop, and we're not making an impact, right? But if you focus and slow down and say, you know what, let me create the content and
Yeah.
then put it out in one location and focus on that location and build up. And that part of the process also shows you, okay, this same content I can repurpose because I know it's good here. Let me repurpose it somewhere else and see how that works. A lot of times we're such in a rush that we end up putting out garbage and then don't realize, oh yeah, we're not really getting much traction. And it's not always about an engagement, it's also about, are people reaching out to you, are people referring about anything?
Yeah.
This past week, I got an email from LinkedIn, where a person was referring to a video that Carl and I did on LinkedIn, one of our LinkedIn live shows 2 years ago. And this
Hmm.
person is like, yeah, that resonated with them. And they quoted something from the show that I said, where I'll just say what it was, dial zero for Satan, right? So they quoted this, and I was like, wow, they listened to that, because that was a random thing that I said deep into the conversation. And I was like, okay, so they not only watched the show, they've been watching our episodes and things like that. So they've been using this episode as a way to tell others about HR life and things like that, and they refer back to this episode. So they reached out to Carl and myself to ask if they can use our names and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no doubt. But that just goes to show, like, content, when you really think about what is it that I want out into the world that's going to
Hmm.
represent my brand, and does it truly represent what I feel and how I feel, and I can stand 10 toes down 4 weeks later, 7 years later? Can I stand close to this? And the answer is yes for me. Like, I purposefully do not just put stuff out randomly, because I want it to still mean something later. And
Yeah.
if even if it's something small or something quick, I still want it to be meaningful for the brand. Now, personal things, if you lifestyle and all that, y'all do things differently. That's you. But at the end of the day, do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Do you know why you're posting what you're posting? I work hard not to post rants. Why? Because sometimes my mouth is reckless. That's okay. That's okay. That's where the safe space comes in. That's safe space. If I'm
That's
hot and
right.
heated in that one moment, that's the one moment I can say it, forget it, write it,
Yeah.
regret it.
Yeah.
And damn no, you're gonna record that joint and post it as a rant. Good luck.
Yeah. Not on this one.
Good luck.
No, no, we're not doing that. I hear you because I think that, the intentionality and the purposefulness, if you will, of what you're putting out there, especially as an entrepreneur or a business owner, is so important because people are watching you. Like, and to your point, it's not immediate. They coming up 2 years later. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, I saw you here and you were talking about this. Can you come over here and share on my platform or with my people? And when you get to see the referrals and how they're coming in, because I am the poster child, if you will, of things that I have been able to create, the opportunities that you can create when you have a strong personal brand that now translates into what you're actually doing.
Right.
And it's important that you have that clarity so you're not all over the place, because people can be all over the place in a hot minute and they don't understand what it is that they're doing or not doing right. So having that clarity is so important. And we talked about leadership, we talked about some, mindset or personal branding, business, your book, and y'all make sure you go get that book. It's on Amazon, right?
It's
Is it
it's
on
coming out August 1st. August 1st. But
August 1st?
they can get the pre-order now.
Yes.
idolizelies.com. Yeah.
Yes. And then we make sure we're gonna have that in the comments when we have the show and so forth. Y'all can be looking on there. But because you need these tools. There's tools out there from legit people that I know, okay, that, well, I'm not gonna steer you wrong, that are putting information out there that you can use so that way you can build your platforms as you will. And then we also talked a little bit about, how to show up, okay? And so what is showing up for you? Like I know people always like, well, how do they get there? What do they do? How do they operate? All right. So tell us a
Well,
little
for me, especially depending on the season. So because I do a lot of the website work on my side, I definitely take breaks from promoting, social, chit chat, and all of that so I can focus. So that's why I say if I understand my energy and I can fine tune and hone in where I need to be, that's where I go. But overall, showing up is, if I'm needed somewhere, I'll go there. If
bit.
I'm not
Mhm.
needed, I don't need to be a added distraction. I don't need to be a body count, right? So I like to be where I'm purposeful, where it makes sense for me to be. Um, and even showing up in my brand, I like to be in places where I can have a real conversation. It doesn't always have to be a conversation of, hey, when you're done, I'm the only one, right? I'm not the only one. But what I will say to you is when you're done, you should know better on how to pick the best one for you. Right. So it's
Mm.
always about how do you vibe with somebody? Can you talk to that person? Does that person give a shit about what you have to say? Because I've seen that too, where you working with someone and they're the expert, but your feedback don't matter, right? They're
Right.
gonna shoot you down. They're not gonna give you an opportunity. And like you said, some folks will hire and then they'll do a 20-minute talk or they'll fill out a little form. Before you know it, a whole done project is in front of you and you're not connected to the project. Most of the time you're not connected to the project because the person don't know you. The person
Nope.
don't understand nothing that you put on the paper. They just looking at words. And for me, there has to be a deeper connection for what you put out in the world, because it still represents you in some form or fashion. And for you, you speak a lot to the personal branding. The personal branding still comes from a part of you. You get to
Mm-hmm.
decide which part of that is out in the public. You get to decide. And I think a lot of times we are so focused on just filming and capturing and sharing that now you don't have a delineation between your personal life, your private life, your brand life, what goes on social, what shouldn't go on social. Like everything is an open book. And I'm like, I've yet to know social to say, you know what, girl, we're going to give you some good dollars to put all your business in the street.
No,
Absolutely not.
no,
Right. So
right.
for me, I still like privacy. As weird as that sounds in 2024, I still like it. Right? I still like privacy.
Yeah.
So for me, showing up is me showing up in a way that supports you, educates you on the matter that I'm an expert in. I'm not going to educate you on blowing up on social media and going viral. That's not what I do. I could give two shit less. But
Mm,
I will help you and guide you in how can you blow up your website? How can you blow up your blogs? How can you get your content seen constantly and build on that growth?
yeah.
Rather than looking for those short spurts of excitement, look for that long-term buildup, and that feeds you longer. That ends up making your brand stand out. Most of these companies we see out here, they had a longevity of struggles behind the scene before people seen them in public. So I really believe in showing up as myself,
Mm-hmm.
showing up when I'm ready. I don't give a hoot, but I'm not just gonna pop up and say, hey y'all, here, here, let me wipe the crust out my eyeballs. Let me roll over and turn on my camera. That's not me, right? It's just not. I'm
No.
okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you too. Like, I'm not, I show up, but like I said, like you said just now, it's because I've taken the time and I know what I'm doing and I know why I'm there and I know what my goals are as I'm going forward. And, you're right with people want to be viral and they want to be, multimillionaire overnight. And that's
Mhm.
not how that happens. And I always share with people, yeah, I was in the military for 30 years. But guess what? It took me 30 years to get to where I'm at right now because
Right.
I'm using those transferable skills and building what I'm building right now. And as we know, the ups and ins and outs of entrepreneurship can go left, right, and sideways in a hot minute. And you just have to understand, what is your why?
Mhm.
What are you trying to achieve? And how you want to go forward in building a website that is you are injected into the website is one of the things that I heard and I continue to hear from you all the time. So you can't be having somebody else building your website and they don't know anything about what you got going on. They don't know how you talk. They don't know how you want it to look like, but yet you say, I want it, and we'll use my case, pink and black and gold, but all that shininess in the front ain't gonna get you anywhere. All right. If you ain't got the
Child.
right content pushed behind it. So I absolutely love the conversation, as you know. So y'all, and I'm gonna be very transparent. My son up here trying to texting me, okay, y'all, and I'm trying to text him back. And I'll tell you what, if y'all got a teenage son out there or a teenage daughter, you know what I'm talking about. It just, but I'm working. Okay, I'm on the show. So why are we texting? But that's the life. So I know we talked up here for about an hour. So what are some things that you want to share with our audience before we take off and do what we do in the evening?
Well, I'll definitely say a saying that I love, and I believe in it. I say it all the time. So when I first said it, I stuck to it and it became part of my culture. Is that if you won't invest in yourself, why should anybody else? And
Mm,
and it's we always talk about how the universe confirms so much, right?
Yeah.
So for years after I had that saying, a lot of other marketers, brand people, brand experts, I would even say, have really been honing in on that, right? If you're not investing, if you're not going after those big ticket items to really solidify for yourself the learning, getting yourself into the spaces where you can grow mentally and then understand what your skill sets are and get better at those things, right? Then how can you now put out a product or a service at a high ticket and then expect everybody to just rush to you? One,
Hmm.
you don't know what it feels like to get into that high ticket. You don't know the excitement of, damn, I'm here, right? Or the nervousness of the investment, the initial investment. You're like, damn, is this really going to pay out for me? But
Yeah.
then like I'm betting on me, right? I got it. I know I got to do this. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna make it work. And then when you get into that investment and you start to do the work behind it, right? And you start to see the changes happening, you really believe that, okay, it was worth it. It was an investment that was worth it. But not only did you bet on yourself, but you understood and you trusted who you were about to get into that work with. And a lot of times we don't really vet properly, right? We're just watching people. We just like, I love you. Look snazzy. I love that shit. Ooh, child, you saying the words. You got my spirit up. But then when you get behind the scenes, you get that investment up. You get behind the scenes and you trying to do the work, but they shit not ready. They shit messy. They not together. The behind the scenes, they missing shit. They telling you that you ain't do something. Like you just like what is happening back here?
Uh-huh.
How your back end work wrong? So
Well,
I say I say all that to say
yeah,
when I invested in a couple women, Audrey Richmond is one,
yeah,
Sharon Beason is another, and Ghetto Country Grandma is another. These women showed me that being pretty in the front is cute and all, but the
yeah,
back end got to make sense. The core got to be aligned. The messaging got to be strong. So all of that, that's where I was really putting on a lot of my work. So 2022, 2023, even 2021, like I was not like all over the place. I wasn't trying to pump out stuff. I was in the back end getting my stuff together.
yeah,
So by the time me and you did that course together, like that was like a first time me doing a course. But I knew, like, I know the information. I know
yeah,
this shit is good. This is what I do. But is it translating? Are they getting it? Right. But even before I did that, I had to still make sure, like, when I send y'all something, that the link is working. Y'all downloaded it. It not only does it look good, it's readable. Hello. People
hello.
sending you stuff that you can't read. You like, what? Run on sentences and shit. Look, just one-on-one had to be in effect.
I don't know how many times a night, if I've putting things together, am I sending stuff to myself and I'm
Yeah.
acting as the client or the customer to see what their experience is, because
Come
I don't
on.
like sending anything out that they can't access. And then, well, you know what happens? They come back to you and say, it's not working. It's
Right.
not working. And
And
then
tech
you're like,
happens. Tech
yeah,
happens,
it
glitches
tech
happen.
happen,
That's
it
okay.
happen. But if it's on a regular basis, like
That part.
this is how your MO is how your operating procedures are,
Mhm.
people are going to be like, nah, we good. We go to somebody else who's got this stuff together. So, you right. Investing in yourself is most important before you asking folks to invest in you. All
Yeah.
right. So,
And
I
I talk
mean,
about that in the book. I talk about the how to properly do that, how to really look at technology in a different way. So you're not looking at it as a burden, but you're looking at it as a support system. That's what this tech should always be, something that supports what we're doing. We should
yeah,
not be switching up our lives to support the technology standpoint. If
yeah,
you coming in and you're like, oh, you know what, let me go get me an email system, and you don't even have an idea of what you should have or what you want, what that looks like for you, you're gonna start picking up anything. And you will invest in the wrong thing. You
yeah,
will invest in something that won't work for you. So understanding what you're investing in, understanding what your needs are, so you can better support your people, because your people might operate differently than
Yeah.
someone else's people. So you just have to understand what that looks like.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. 1000%. Co-signing to all the things that Charlene just said. All right. So, we've been in here for a minute, and so we had Leslie and Dr. T come on into the live. So thank you so much, ladies, for being here with us. And where can people find you? Like, where are all the places?
The main place, BrooklynCustomDesigns.com, BKLYN CustomDesigns.com. That is my home base. I have, and you can find my other locations over there. Social media, I'm definitely on LinkedIn. I check that more than anybody else. If you find me on Facebook, I'm really supporting other people on Facebook. I am on Instagram as Brooklyn Custom Designs. I'm also on Instagram as I am Charlene Brown. But like I said, you will find every place that I'm located on my website, definitely.
Yeah, so please check out the website. Okay, y'all, don't be slipping. All right. I brought in the best of the best when it comes to these website designs. So Leslie said I am the poster child for that. I spent a lot of money having no clue and thinking it was not my business to know. And so,
And can I speak to that? Because
yes,
a lot of times that's a downfall, and it comes from tech hurt. It comes from that tech trauma that so many of us have gone through. I've been through the trauma, right? And what does that look like? That's when you are thinking, yeah, this is where I need to be. This is new technology. I need to learn this today. And by the time you get into it, so much of it is over your head. People don't know how to talk to you. Unfortunately, in the tech space, a lot of those in the tech space don't know how to break stuff down to simplify the concept. And then there's a handful that think that's what they're supposed to do, because I'm a techie and you don't need to know what I am until you in my space. Bullshit. Like, you need to be able to simplify. If you can't simplify it, like you talking to a small child, then you don't know what the F you doing. Anyway. That's how I look at it. You don't know what you're talking about. If you can't keep it to a simplified concept or terms and still be able to chat with the big dogs and do all your little tech terms and all that good stuff. I don't like doing all the extras if it's unnecessary.
Yeah. I haven't like been in that world because I'm just doing me up in here, my thing. But you're right. Folks would just be telling you any old type of thing, and then they don't want you to be part of the process. They just want you to just take it. Just take it. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how to change. You don't know how to insert yourself or some your input. They just dismiss it and be like, no, that's not what you paid me for. Right. You paid me to put out a website and here you go. And so you have to be very mindful on what is it that and I'm going to say it because I'm your image consultant, y'all. Your image. Okay, what is your image about when you're putting stuff out there that is not like you? And then when people see you in person, they're going to get a whole different person. They're going to get a whole somebody else that they don't even know, and it don't match up. Right. It don't make no sense.
Because most people don't know I have my master's in business technology implementation is the focus of my master's. I'm a doctorate candidate, same thing, technology implementation at the core of that. It's going through those programs taught me how simple it is, right? How simple it can be. But when you get into the minutia of everything and the money of it, people want it to seem bigger than it is. And it's really you, again, focusing on what do you need? Mm-hmm. What's the core purpose of you having this? How are you going to use it? And can you get someone else on board to support you to use it? Because I always tell people who like to tell me, again, WordPress is my boo, right? Mm-hmm. I can switch like old milk, but that's okay. But right now, WordPress is my boo. So when I tell people the power of WordPress, not .com, because .com is like anybody else, Squarespace and all that. I'm talking about WordPress.org, where you go and you running the majority of the stuff on your own, right? Bet. When I tell folks the power of having your own website, building it out, really fine tuning things and all this stuff, right? First thing I get from people, oh, well, maybe you need a simpler platform like Squarespace, and people need to learn how to. I was like, let me tell y'all something. To this day, Disney is run on WordPress. Beyonce's website is run on WordPress.
Huh?
The White House is run on WordPress. I need folks to stop it. Especially if you are an entrepreneur and you're building a business that you claim is going to become a brand and you're going to have a team and all this yeah, right? Why you give a fuck how your website going to work? You just want to make sure it works and it's functional and it does what it needs to do. You're not going to be there. Beyonce not staying up at 3 a.m. trying to figure out code, trying to drag and drop.
No,
She's not on Squarespace and Shopify trying to make sure her shirts go out.
Not doing any of that. No, ma'am.
Swift not that. If anything, like, oh, it looks great. How does it look? Oh, this is my idea, and they give it to the person to execute. That's how most people are not. They're failing in that sense of thinking. Yeah. You're not putting it together. You just need to understand how it's going to get put together. So at the end of the day, it's going to work and it's going to meet your needs and expectations. But if you're not running a website, why you give two craps if it's hard to learn when you're not going to be the one managing it in the long run? Think about that. Right? If you start off now on Squarespace, if you start off now on a .com anybody, and you're learning the process and you're learning what it takes to build it and what it takes to make it look what it needs to look and all that good stuff, that's one thing. Yeah. But when you start to think long term, in the next 5 years, 10 years, why are you still running your website?
Yeah. Okay. Look, you say nothing but a thing in here. And so
you're doing something wrong. I dropped the names. Audrey Richmond, she does marketing. She's excellent, right?
Yeah, she is excellent.
Ghetto Country Grandma. She's excellent with the branding and getting you fine-tuned. Sharon B's excellent with CEO work, a framework, all that. Y'all need to go hook up with those ladies and stop it. Stop playing around with your business.
And I tell you what, I got all three her books. Audrey Richmond, I'm like a little, a high school, college child in here. I'm looking and reading and applying because it's
doing notes and like
writing all kinds of things. Because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't want to have a business that per se that's going to turn into an expensive hobby. Because you know what I mean? Like, if you really truly want to build something, you have to look at long game. And it's like anything. And yes, we're talking about business, but we can also apply this in our personal lives as well. All right. This is a long game. So how you showing up and how you do anything, and Leslie, I'm going to say it because you say it all the time, is how you do everything. Yep. All right. Okay. Yep. So listen, y'all. Okay, if you were here with us again for all the show, thank you for staying with us. Those that come back for the replay, make sure that you put in #replay. Okay, and share, and subscribe. All right, subscribe, because I have all these slay amazing guests that come on here and just be dropping all kinds of gems. By now, you should be like slaying it. And that's what we're saying in here, right? You should be slaying all the things based on the information that's coming out from my guests. So thank you so much for being here. Charlene, thank you so much for being here with me. And I'm so glad we had the conversation on the show. And I'm looking forward to having future conversations, either again coming back as a guest or on another, podcast. Because, we in LinkedIn. And y'all, if you're not in LinkedIn, all right, and that's where all the good things come out of. So get yourself out there so you don't miss anything. So we're going to close up tonight's show. Keep on slaying, everybody, until you can't slay no more. And we will be back here Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I got another slay amazing guest who's going to come on here too. So you don't want to miss out on that. So we'll see you all later. Take care. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.